This man joins us each and every Wednesday to talk baseball and beer. He's Jay Jaffe from Fangraphs.com. You can follow him on Twitter at J_Jaffe. And man, oh man, he's got that Brooklyn hat. I love the Brooklyn hat. Stay with that every week, my man, because you live there. You're a
look, until I get a haircut, it's a necessity.
Let me tell you something. Yeah, how's the hair doing right now? Is it pretty?
No, I was supposed to get a haircut on Monday, but my get a test due to a sore throat. So I'm hopeful she's okay.
Well, I'll tell you this much: I'm happy you're with us. A ton to get to, really. A lot of baseball to talk about, and before we get to all the signings and everything that's going down with baseball, let's talk about the sadder news. We found out we lost Don Sutton at the age of 75. Died in his sleep. His son passed that information along to us. Jay, we're close to the same age. I remember Don Sutton pitching for the Dodgers and then later on the Angels and the Brewers and some of the other teams he played for in his career. But also a guy that was a great broadcaster after his playing days were over, and somebody that just was such a consistent, steady pitcher throughout his career. I think that's the one thing I always took away from the Hall of Famer was just a guy that maybe didn't win 20 a bunch of times, but was always in that 15 to 20 range and just gave you that reliable 200-inning arm that so many teams crave.
Yeah, Sutton was a Swiss watch. From 1966 to 1986, the only year he didn't reach 200 innings was the strike year, and he was on pace for something like 234 innings that year, which was his first full year with the Astros. He was probably never the best pitcher in the league, so long as guys like Tom Seaver and Steve Carlton were going against him in the National League. But he could miss bats. He had one of the best curveballs in the game. He had a broad arsenal that he could summon just about any pitch, including some that weren't necessarily legal. At the very least, he liked to put that thought in the batter's head. And he was a tremendous competitor, and he was somebody who based on when I started watching, kind of dominated my baseball consciousness. Or was right there, in it early on, because I started watching. Really, it was the '78 Dodgers, the team that he famously got and helped to a World Series for the second year in a row. And then he turned up in some other places, including pitching for the 1982 Brewers, one of the great stretch run acquisitions, helping the Brewers get to their first World Series. He's one of 10 pitchers to get 300 wins and 3,000 strikeouts. Kind of the ultimate compiler. Only had one time where he led the league in a Triple Crown category. That's wins, strikeouts, or earned run average, and he led an ERA once. He only won 20 games once, but 3,500 and some odd strikeouts, 324 wins. There's just a level of consistency and durability that not many pitchers could match. And I mean, there's only two other pitchers who ever started more games than him, and that's Cy Young and Nolan Ryan. Beyond that, he was eminently quotable, brutally honest. He would joke about his efforts to doctor the ball. Some great columns with Tom Boswell of the Washington Post. His Hall of Fame speech in 1998, after waiting 5 years to get in, I think is one of the most poignant. He paid tribute to the people who got him there. When his press conference before that, when he was first elected, talked about how much more it mattered that his 2 months premature daughter had survived against all odds. And there's a great line he had about coming up with the Dodgers in 1966. Where Don Drysdale and Sandy Koufax would basically just smother opponents, and by the time they got to him, he was facing 9 angry men. He had a way with words and really just stood out in a lot of ways. And I know he was beloved as a broadcaster, especially with TBS and those Braves. I didn't catch a ton of his work there, but he was always so well spoken that it didn't surprise me. And it's on a year after losing 7 Hall of Famers. We've lost 2 already, with Sutton and Tommy Lasorda, and they both loom large in my growing baseball consciousness as a child. So it's particularly saddening in that respect.
In your Hall of Fame index, JAWS, which we measure the standards of their body of work for Cooperstown, I'm assuming you have Sutton in the Hall of Fame just based on the longevity, the metrics, the consistency. Where does he kind of fall among some of the all-time great pitchers?
Well, the pitching in Dodger Stadium, which was such a low run environment, kind of takes a bite out of his value. So he doesn't fare as well as he's, I think, around 42nd all time in terms of career wins above replacement, but he's much lower than that in terms of peak score and JAWS. Didn't have the huge big Cy Young caliber seasons. Although he made the All-Star team several times. So he's like Whitey Ford. He's a guy who I think the advanced stats underrate. It was interesting. Somebody was writing about a poll that they gave managers or executives, and it was like, would you rather have Sandy Koufax or Don Sutton on your roster? Knowing what you get, like with Koufax, 6 years of mediocrity, 6 years of just absolute greatness, or Don Sutton, 23 years of generally really, really good. And there was a split. There was a definite split in terms of what, who these executives would take, because there's such value in that longevity.
I can't imagine breaking in 1966. And that was Sandy Koufax's last season. So he's in that rotation. He's a 21-year-old rookie. Drysdale's already one of the best in the game. Koufax, is winding up his career, and they go to the World Series his rookie year. And he has a strong season. If you look at, I think he had a sub-3 ERA and pitched over, pitched really
200
well.
strikeouts.
Yeah, that's a great start.
Yeah, he didn't get to pitch. He didn't get to pitch in the World Series because Claude Osteen was the true number 3 in that rotation, and they went Koufax, Drysdale, Osteen, Koufax, especially because they were down 3-0. But in under different circumstances, he might have gotten his first taste of the World Series. Unfortunately, he pitched in 4 World Series. He's never on the winning side, and I think that's one of the things that's kind of bittersweet about his career. He was also on that 1988 Dodgers team. That was his last hurrah. He came back to the team after bouncing around the majors, struggled and went on the disabled list for the first time at age 43. And after one pretty lousy outing after coming off, the first time he'd ever missed a start, he got replaced on the roster by Ramon Martinez, and the it was a mistake to come back, but that was the year, obviously, the Dodgers went on to win it all. And so I think there's kind of a close but no cigar aspect to his career.
No doubt. Back right now with Jay Jaffe from Fangraphs.com. As we just remembered the life and career of Don Sutton. You get a chance to read more of that at Fangraphs. And Jay, let's talk about all the moves. Baseball, we're starting to finally get the free agent push we've been waiting for. Today especially. First, you find out that George Springer signs a 6-year, $150 million contract to go to Toronto and play for the Jays. And we hear then that Michael Brantley is going to join him for about 5 minutes until the Jays say, no deal's done yet. And we discover that he's actually going to go back to Houston for 2 years to play the outfield for the Astros. So let's start first with those 2 deals and your reaction to both.
Yeah, the Springer deal I think is a nice one for the Blue Jays. They've got a young lineup, but they didn't have much in the way of center field. Randall Grichuk is probably better used as a 4th outfielder. They were looking to make a splash. They'd been in on just about every major free agent this winter, so I think for them to land one as big as Springer, I think good on them. I worry about the back end of that deal. He's already over 30. He's going to have to move to a corner, at some point. But for a team that doesn't, that only tasted the playoffs for the first time this past year, for the first time since I think it's 2015 or 2016, and has a whole, has turned over the entire roster since then. I think it's good on them to add somebody with the kind of experience he's had with so many competitive teams in Houston, two World Series teams, and Obviously there's a bit of a stain there with regards to his involvement in the
Trash
sign
can.
stealing
Yep.
scandal, but
Yep.
at the same time, I don't know that you can pin that just on one person, and I don't expect the Blue Jays are going to be going that route. But yeah, good move for them. I think it would have been even better for them if they could have added Brantley, although that probably would have forced them to trade one of their younger players like Gurriel. Brantley returning to Houston, I think, makes some sense. He was very comfortable there. The guy is just, he's the proverbial professional hitter. Has come back from a couple seasons lost to shoulder problems, and picked up where he left off. He's outstanding contact skills, mid-range power, and just a level of consistency that would be welcome in any lineup. And I think is obviously very comfortable in Houston. So I'm not that surprised that he went back there, except for the erroneous report that he was going to Toronto.
Kirby Yates also signed with Toronto for a year. I like that move. It seems like a pretty good gamble as far as the relieving bullpen goes.
Yeah, I mean, the guy was lights out in 2019, and was very good in 2018 as well. Only got to pitch 6 games this past year due to injury. A worthwhile gamble. I think the Blue Jays really, if he's healthy, they'll really benefit from that.
Absolutely right. Jose Quintana to the Angels. Do you like that signing?
Yeah, he's a very solid back end guy. I think we've all kind of been a little bit disappointed that he didn't turn into more than what he's been. But he's a good innings eating guy, and the Angels have really kind of lacked that. They've got so many injury issues over the year. This is a guy who's made 32 starts every year since 2013 until this past year. I think. So long as he's healthy, he'll be a big boost for them.
It's been a rough week for the Mets. They lose out on George Springer, and then they find out that their general manager got involved in some very bad texting situations with a reporter years ago, loses his job less than 24 hours after the story comes out at ESPN.com. It's obviously the right move. I think the Mets had no other choice but to do what they did to Porter, but still, the Mets had all the excitement of Lindor and some of that hype, and then all of a sudden right back down to earth.
Yeah, I don't know that they should be too broken up about losing out on Springer. I think, whoever signs, with most free agents, whoever signs them is overpaying. And with Springer, like I said, there's a little bit of the danger. Talk about a guy who's 31, 32, is going to be, especially if he's signing a 6-year deal, and you're getting him to age 38. That's the possibilities for dropping off are high. The Mets do really need a center fielder, a true center fielder. They've been, kind of shoehorning Brandon Nimmo and Michael Conforto into that role for the last couple of years. I think, if they can go out and get Jackie Bradley Jr., a whiz of a defender, who I think still has some potential with the bat, but probably needs, a real devoted hitting coach to kind of make us, help him keep a consistent approach. That could work out well for them too at a much lower risk. The real coup was getting Francisco Lindor. They have to make that stick by signing him, and I think they intend to do that. But they're going to have to show him the money. They could have afforded both him and Springer, but I think if you're gonna spend money on only one of them, the clear one to do is Lindor.
Okay. By the way, since we're watching this on video, I got to see that in person. Now I can tell what family life is doing to you. People don't understand this. When you've got a little kid at our ages, Jay, it wears you down.
Well, and she was supposed to be back at school this week, and due to some testing issues, she's remote again, and that's kind of thrown our whole week for a loop. So we've been burning the midnight oil every night here, and we'll be doing the same for the rest of the week while crossing our fingers and hoping she can get back to school. So grateful that everybody's healthy, but in our end, but my mother-in-law got vaccinated this week. My daughter's teachers got vaccinated this past week. So, light at the end of the tunnel, but a bit of a rough week.
We'll pray for you. We will. We'll do that. Before we get to your beer pick of the week, give me your thoughts on Joe Musgrove, that trade to the Padres, adding another starting pitcher to try to compete with that Dodgers team that's the defending World Series champs. Again, don't give up a ton and just make themselves really from 1 through 5 that much better right now in their rotation.
Yeah, I mean, it's the Padres have done well to add depth. I mean, look, I thought the Joey Lucchesi angle for the Mets in that deal was good. We didn't really get to talk about the Porter situation. Obviously, what he did was reprehensible. I have, my wife is in this industry. She has, stories that she hears from her, female reporters and things like that. I think this is a problem that needs to be stamped out. And I applaud the Mets for at least acting swiftly once the transgression was revealed. But teams and organizations are going to have to do a better job of vetting these people before they get hired. And the big solution to that is getting more women involved in the hiring process, which means hiring more women in the first place. Anyway, Joe Musgrove, solid addition. He's by no means is he the best arm in that rotation, but a solid back end guy. Good to liberate him from Pittsburgh because they're going nowhere, and I think he's got a chance to be a contributor on a playoff team. He was in Houston as a swingman back in 2016, 2017, and he's got a good shot at pitching for a playoff team again.
So I'm sure Padres fans want to toast to Musgrove and improving that rotation. What beers should you recommend for them to enjoy as we deliver another beer pick of the week, Jay?
Well, talking about IPAs in San Diego is kind of like taking Coles to Newcastle here, but got a pretty good East Coast one here that I wouldn't say it was exactly one of my white whales, but it was one that had been kind of elusive just because I'm not about to go stand in line down at Other Half. But I got through my friends at Threes, I got delivered the Other Half double dry hop broccoli, which is a very funny name for a beer. Thankfully, there's no actual broccoli in there. I don't really know why they named it, but there's colorful broccoli all over the label, which is pretty funny. Here, let me see if I can turn this around and give you the shot. Can you see that?
Oh, I can. That's a good shot of it. I like that right there.
Yeah.
Okay.
But anyway, this thing is just a hot bonanza. It's got Cascade, Hallertau Blanc, Mosaic and Simcoe, Mosaic lupulin powder, oats and wheat. So it's got that kind of that very creamy, very creamy head to it. 7.9% ABV. I got a fairly let's see if I can find my tasting notes here with any kind of efficiency at all. Probably not. Sorry about this, folks. This is why they pay me the big bucks. But it's a very, very East Coast IPA. I got a lot of melon taste out of it. Some orange citrus, very resiny. I would not say I tasted any broccoli in there, and for that I'm kind of relieved.
I am too. I was worried about that. You threw that broccoli thing in there. I'm trying to think. Oh my God, you're starting 2021 on a little bit of a dangerous note, throwing broccoli beer at us. So that's good.
Yeah, no, I'm not about to do that.
Good.